But first, there is growing backlash to the announcement that the government plans to ban most outdoor smoking to reduce the strain on the NHS. So this includes smoking in beer gardens, with some warning that this could be catastrophic for local pubs, which are apparently closing at the rate of 29 every week. So what do you think of this, Mariella? Would you support it or not?
Well, you're talking to an ex-smoker, obviously.
How ex?
So, quite ex. I mean, definitely not really in the last 20 years, apart from every now and again a very late night and maybe one behind the bike shed. But I think, you know, first of all, pubs are the last bastion of bad behaviour. I mean, that's where you're supposed to be able to go to let your hair down. Why else do you go to a pub, you know? So if you take away all of the incentives for going, then finally, I suppose you are just putting another nail in the coffin. The thing that frustrates me the most about the whole issue around smoking is that I do think that, you know, it's horrendously bad for you. I'm so intolerant of smokers.
80,000 deaths
when
per
you
year apparently linked to smoking.
Wow.
80,000.
But it gets linked to all kinds of... It gets linked to everything. I mean, I'm not saying it's not bad, and I'm totally intolerant of it. People walking down the street blowing smoke in your face. Horrible. But if it's so bad that it has to be banned in outdoor spaces, then why isn't it just banned from being on sale? Why aren't they banned from being on sale in the first place? You know what I mean? Well, because I think that what happens is... I was just in Greece on my summer holidays, and my best friend bought a pack of fags. They were like €4.50. Here, they cost, I think, something like £16, £17. All of that money is tax revenue going to the government.
I know.
So it's totally hypocritical to be banning it at the same time as you're making money out of it, out of us buying them.
Well, the thing is, why do we raise taxes? We raise taxes to put into education, to put into the health service, to put into care services.
I love paying tax.
So we need to raise taxes. Only 10%, that was my chair, by the way, not me. Not even eating today. Only 10% of people smoke. Isn't that striking? So I don't really think if pubs...
So why do we need a ban then?
No, but if you're relying, if pubs are relying on 10% of the population to keep them going, then it ain't going to work. So that argument...
But I'm not saying it's about pubs.
But I would say that argument...
Open. That's not my... My thing is about the hypocrisy of successive governments.
Well, on the hypocrisy...
Taxing it and not banning it.
Well, we have to raise taxes somehow, don't we?
Yes.
There are a small number of people who will always smoke. There's addicts. It's very difficult for people to get off smoking, and you totally appreciate that. So if you banned it, the chances are it would go underground.
Ban the sale.
If you banned the sale, the chances are it would go underground.
I think it would almost go underground because it's so addictive. Well, it took me years and every method out there to give up smoking. It is so tough to give up smoking. But I do worry it would go underground and it would become...
Where would the money go then?
But then it's just like they just pick and choose what they allow to be bad and what they allow not to be bad. So it's like they know cigarettes are bad, but they still kind of allow them because, you know, they make money from them, so they'll keep them around. Then they've brought vapes out, which will probably be the same thing at some point. They're bad for everyone. And it's like drugs, OK, they've banned those, obviously, for obvious reasons, because they're bad, because they've decided that's bad enough for them to ban. But then alcohol is just as bad. Alcohol makes people do stupid things. They make mistakes, they get in trouble, it can kill them. You could be an alcoholic, but we're allowed to do that because the government
has said that's okay. I don't know what we're arguing here. I mean, yes, alcohol is bad if you drink to excess, absolutely, and it causes lots of deaths. It can also be used pretty socially and not cause great harm.
I don't really want to live in a society where the government decides what I can and can't do when it's perfectly legal, whether it's good for me or bad for me. As long as it's legal,
well, then
I should be allowed to make that choice.
If you trip up at the NHS, you know, and we've got 80,000 deaths, we know the NHS is under tremendous strain.
So ban cigarettes.
But then we could get to the point where we're banning alcohol, because how many deaths are there due to alcohol every year? I bet it's more than 80,000.
Are we going to ban obesity?
We can't. So I don't think we can.
But that's why they don't ban it.
Yeah.
That's why they do things like they put it behind plain packaging, they put warnings on it, they raise the price of it. They do everything they can to reduce the number of people who smoke and to do damage limitation. That's what they've done very successfully. Only 10% of the public now smoke.
Yeah, but they've done that and now they've brought out another version of, which is dangerous.
I just don't understand why you seem to be arguing to kill people.
But I think that's an absolutely radical and incendiary thing to say.
No, but it's
speaking of smoking. But it is, because what we're talking about is whether the government should be in a position to behave hypocritically concerning this one particular vice that's perfectly legal. You're entitled to go into your local newsagent, buy a packet, the government takes
but
a
if
hefty
you make it illegal,
driving
still
a car,
going to smoke, it's going to become an illicit thing. It's going to become an illegal thing. There'll be no tax on it.
Okay, well, in that case, you should make cannabis available.
There'll still be people needing to access the NHS for lung cancer and all the other things that smoking give you, but we won't have had the tax to pay for it.
But people
like
do
the cost
all
of a
kinds of
drink
things that are bad for their health. Are we going to ban all of them? Are we going to rely on the government to force us to be superhuman, healthy people who only eat radishes?
But you said that you should make smoking illegal. But you've said that they should make smoking illegal.
I'm saying that I think it would be less hypocritical than telling people that sitting outdoors in a place of community, they're not allowed to light a cigarette. I think that, or a vape.
Well, if you were sitting outdoors in a beer garden and I was behind you and you lit up, I would move.
Well, fair enough.
Because I hate.
Or you could ask me to move, and I would go. Yes, of course,
you would probably
Kay,
swear
whatever
at
you
me.
say. I'm not a lager lout.
But on the hypocrisy, people drive cars. The government tax it. You pay road tax. You pay various taxes on your cars, and they take those taxes.
They don't tell you where you can drive them.
Well, I don't think that 10% of people that still smoke would stop if we made it illegal, but they would still need to access NHS services for whatever diseases would come out of that smoking.
Or how
and we wouldn't have
smoking.
made the money from the tax to pay for them. That's the problem.
Well said, Nadia. You said it a lot better than I did. Listen,